Chapter 3. The raptors were kept in the animal pen right in the compound. Alan rushed over, the others following behind. "We plan to show you the raptors after lunch," Mr. Hammond said, trying to lead Alan back to the visitor center. But Alan was intent on seeing the dinosaurs. He leaned in close to the fence, making sure not to touch it. He didn't see any raptors. The pen was too overgrown with jungle plants and trees. But Alan did see a giant crane. It was dropping a large animal into the pen. Alan squinted. It looked like a steer. The steer seemed frightened. Its legs were still attached to the crane by a thick rope. They flailed wildly as it fell. Then the animal disappeared behind some trees and the rope went slack. Suddenly, the rope jerked, like a fishing rod that had just caught a fish. Then it twisted and turned every which way. Plants shook back and forth. Alan heard vicious growls and a crunching sound. Seconds later, all was quiet. The crane pulled up the rope. There was nothing on the end. The steer was gone. Every bit of it had been eaten. Everyone stood in silence. They were too shocked to speak. "The raptors," said a grim voice. "They should all be destroyed." Robert Muldoon, the park's game warden, was standing behind them. He had a hard look on his face. "They're killers at 8 months old," he continued. "They move at cheetah speed, 60 miles an hour, and they're amazing jumpers." "Are they intelligent?" asked Alan. "Very." Mr. Hammond clapped his hands together. He wanted everyone's attention. Yes, but we've taken steps for safety," he said. "We have electrical fence. We have steel frames on all the windows. Everything is under control. Now, who's hungry?" Lunch was served in the visitor center restaurant. Afterward, everyone stayed at the table. They were talking about the park. "We're going to make a fortune," Gennaro said happily, "and we can charge anything we want." His earlier fears had been replaced by greed. Mr. Hammond frowned at him. That wasn't why he built the park. He built it for dinosaur lovers, for children. Eagerly, he listened to the others. "Don't you see the danger?" Ian Malcolm was saying. "You use scientific power like a child who found his father's gun. You don't know what you've created." Then Ellie spoke up. "The question is, how much can you know about an extinct ecosystem?" Mr. Hammond looked upset. 2 experts thought the park would fail, and Alan, after thinking long and hard, had to agree. Dinosaurs and man, together. No one knew what would happen. Outside, a horn blasted. Mr. Hammond stood up and said, "You 4 are going to have a little company when you visit the park." He was hoping a Jurassic Park tour would change their minds. "Maybe Tim and Alexis will help you get into the spirit." "Who?" asked Alan. Mr. Hammond ushered his grandchildren into the room. Tim looked like he was 9 years old. His sister, Alexis, looked about 12. "After all," said Mr. Hammond, introducing them all, "kids are our real audience." Kids here, too, Alan thought. He'd never escape them. 2 electric jeeps pulled up in front of the visitor center. They were running along a rail, almost like a train. "I read your book," Tim said to Alan as they waited to board. He was looking at the paleontologist with wide eyes. Tim was a dinosaur nut, and Dr. Alan Grant was his hero. "Do you really think dinosaurs turned into birds?" "Well, a few species may have evolved," Alan stammered. For some reason, this kid was making him nervous. He tried to move away, but Tim kept on his heels. Alan walked around and around the 2 cars, trying to lose him. Finally, everyone settled into the car seats. Alan relaxed. Tim sat with Alexis and Gennaro in the front car. Alan was in the second one with Ellie and Ian Malcolm. "We'll be watching from the control room," Mr. Hammond said to them. The cars jerked forward. They passed through big iron gates. Seconds later, they were in the jungle. A voice came over the speaker on both cars. "Welcome to Jurassic Park," it said.